AskReddit by GoIout 2112. What existed when you were a child that doesn't exist now? Actual toy prizes in cereal boxes. Man, getting Roller Coaster Tycoon from a Lucky Charms box was the peak of our society back in the early 2000s. A phone number you could call that just told you the time and weather. Or movie showing times. KB Toys. Toy stores in general. Toys R Us, Child World. It's all Walmart, Target or Amazon now. An expectation of being unreachable sometimes. I went to school, and my mom couldn't reach me all the time. She lived. I didn't feel like picking up the phone, no one cared. No read messages unanswered causing drama. Being able to be unplugged and not getting shit for it. Being able to read a physical map and navigate that way. There were 3 ways to reach someone. 1. Call their house and either leave a message or get lucky and they are home. 2. Moms only, stand on the porch and call their full name around 9 PM 10 PM. 3. Know where they hang out and stop by. And if none of those work, that's it. That was the extent of your ability to find someone. Maybe you could call down the list of mutual friends and hope to get them, but that was reserved for emergencies. Restaurant smoking sections. Airplane smoking sections. Blockbuster. There's still one in Bend, Oregon. Taking pictures with film cameras and waiting for them to get developed until you could see how bad you looked, lol. Honestly, the inability to perfect your portraits was kind of a godsend. Now it's horribly embarrassing to have a bad photo reach social media, but between 1991 to 1999 I was blinking in 50% of photos. People were more likely to look like themselves in photos. The high beam switch in your car was on the floor by your left foot. Oh, and having to pull out the choke to start the car. Yugoslavia. Czechoslovakia. Card catalogs at the library. I miss these. I can feel the library around me just thinking about them. As a kid, I felt, I don't know, important knowing how to do this. Somehow, seeing and touching all those little cards and knowing each one represented a real book was wonderful. And those cabinets held a bit of magic, I think. I would love to have one someday. TVs with a fine-tuning dial and were part of a huge wooden console. Big non-functional wooden console TV, with a smaller working TV sitting on top of it. Living WWI veterans. And by the time 2030 rolls around, there won't be hardly any of the WWI vets alive either. A paper TV guide that you used to find out when TV shows were going to be aired. Usually it came in the Sunday newspaper. Also newspapers. Full page Sunday comics. Pizza Hut buffet. The freedom to be a kid without being influenced by the internet and having your worst moments immortalized on it. Fucking feel this one. Dial-up connection screeching intensifies. Mom picks up the phone. Damn it, mom, I'm trying to use the internet. School desks with the lift up lids, and a spot for an inkwell, like -4F22-9 a 30A5 a 6009 a 3CF0. No, I'm not that old, but in rural England they persisted well in the late 1980s and early 1990s when I was in school. Some of them had graffiti on them that was decades old. I had one in my bedroom too that I got as a hand-me-down from my older brother. I can still remember the pain of trapping a finger in one of those. Also having to put the chairs on the desk at night so the floor could be cleaned. No school I visit these days does that. Do they just not clean now? My hair. Our bald is calling your name. Captain Kangaroo. And emo green jeans. Woolworths. Note, I'm referring to the business in the UK that dissolved in 2008. And stay out of the Woolworths. Phone booths. I saw one the other day and got all excited. But there was no phone inside of it, so it was just Superman's changing room. White dog shit. LMAO, come to think of it, I haven't seen that in a long time. Those coin-operated rides outside grocery stores and Kmarts. They basically gave you a mild jostling for about a minute. Edit, glad to hear these are still teaching children the meaning of anticlimactic in various locations around the globe, though I never see them anymore in my corner of the US. My personal favorites were the ones at McDonald's. I indistinctly remember one with a head shaped like a hamburger. Though I could be mixing these up with the McDonald Land characters that were various pieces of playground equipment when I was a kid. They still have them in Myers. Playing outdoors without supervision and just returning home once the sun sets. Depends on where you live. Kids in my neighborhood do this. Was driving home a few months ago to a bike laid down on the middle of the road. They were all playing catch in the yard nearby and asked them to move the bike. They moved it begrudgingly and it still made me happy because that's what being a kid is supposed to be about. Fucking around outside and rolling your eyes at adults that tell you to do things. Affordable housing. You should have started saving when you were 5 years old. The Twin Towers. Multicolored ketchup. Multicolored ketchup came back in the 2020s. I had purple and green for my kids. Haha. Pocket critters and amp. Polly Pockets. Polly Pockets came back. The little compact ones, not the big stupid ones. Party lines. Local 5-digit calling. Rotary phone service. 5-digit? Look who lived in a big town over there. 4 digits where I'm from semicolon. Cigarette machines. There was one in a bar we used to frequent in college. Even in the early 2000s I thought it was weird that they had one. I remember being a kid and pulling the knobs on them for fun. My parents. Manually rolling down your window. In my pharmacy drive-through someone wouldn't roll down the window, so we told the 23-year-old to make the universal roll your window down motion and she had no idea what we were talking about. Privacy. Back in the day, the only way someone could know what I was up to was if they physically followed me. Now, my smartphone does that for them. Like, remember when someone would try to call you and if you weren't home, they were just out of luck? Miss that. Now folks get offended when you don't give them your immediate attention. McDonald's ashtrays. McDonald's cocaine coffee spoons. Where do I start? Typing shorthand class. Long distance charges. Fast food branded ashtrays. Adult free camping trips. 29-cent hamburgers. Cigarette machines. There's still typing classes. Not all schools have them, but my school did last year and it was just teaching you how to type on the home row without looking at the computer and all the computer shortcuts. Indoor water fountains and indoor playground areas in malls. Add to that, malls. Saturday morning cartoons or weekly morning cartoons. Milkman. S&Amp, H green stamps. Circuit City. Landlines with 10-foot long coiled lines. Cameras that had rolled up film which needed to be developed. Flash cubes. Diskettes, I guess. You mean 3D printed save icons? Floppy disks. Kmart blow light specials. JCPenney's was upscale for us, and don't even talk about Macy's where the 1% airs shop. For you youngins, a blue light special was they'd roll a cart with a blue police light on a pole, then announce some that an item was on sale over the speakers. It was like a viral pop-up ad. Those are some fond memories. And also all the racist joke books they'd happily sell an 8-year-old. I was an adult before I realized the horrible stuff I read. I have one word for you. Cherished. A sense of optimism for the future. A sense of happiness in general. The space shuttle program and the Concorde come to mind. The fairness doctrine. The idea that the government and private corporations were building databases of your movements, purchases, and communications was mostly science fiction. At the same time, we had the Soviet Union, 100% lethal HIV, a mental health crisis in Vietnam veterans, and people going to prison for years for minor drug offenses. VHS was still fighting a losing battle against DVD. AOL CDs coming in the mail, free non-powered phones also in the mail for power outages. Sam Goody, The Whiz, Tower Records, Funkoland, EB Games. Beepers. Deleted. Being taught cursive, non-negotiable. The Soviet Union.